Welcome to the For the Love of Dogs TV show. And our guest today is the famous Blackie. Hi, Blackie. No, Blackie brought with him his mom, who's the famous actress, producer, and dog lover, Farrah White.
Hi, Arthur.
Welcome, Farrah.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Oh,
this
thanks
is
for
the
having
show
us.
where we tell dog stories. So we're going to tell Blackie's story, and we're going to tell your story. And really, I just watched a movie you were in, Angel Dog.
Yeah.
And I cried through the second half of the movie.
Aww.
You play vet,
Yeah.
Carolyn. Mm-hmm. Her last name was?
Caroline Mason.
Mason. And Dr. Mason has a problem. A dog's brought in, and the owner doesn't come to pick the dog up. And it's a long period of time, days before but you get fascinated with this story.
I do. This particular dog, I think, touches me right away, and I realize that there's so much more than just what meets the eye. So, and as it turns out, I was right.
Right. And what really happens is the man has a huge problem in his life, and the dog,
Yes.
Angel Dog,
Yes.
shows up to help him through, much like dogs show up in the lives of our soldiers to help them back.
Oh, no, absolutely. And I think that, you know, and there has been lots of talk about it, but, and I think even you're going to have a story about it in a minute, but dogs, I think, have a sense, they can sense when they're needed, and they can sense and are very nurturing. And that's part of the story of Angel Dog is, yeah, the dog shows up when this man really, really needed him most. But it had done that previously, so.
But then he wanders away to other people.
He does. He goes where he's needed to help others. So, you know, he nurtured him until he was okay, and then.
Well, let me tell you, it was hard.
Oh.
I heard about the movie, and I knew you were going to be on the show, and I had to go to 4 red boxes before I could find a copy available to watch.
Wow, that's
so
great.
It's a low-budget film.
Yes.
That
Shot
is
in
making
Texas.
it big, right?
Yeah.
Shot in Texas.
Yes, shot
Where
in
was
San
it shot?
Antonio, Texas. And the surrounding area. There, actually, Bernie is the ranch where the dog Cooper was originally at. So beautiful area, and made by Robin and Kevin Nations. And they are a writer, director, cinematographer, husband and wife. So it was nice because they wanted to make a family film, and I think that's so important. I do a lot of different films, but I think whenever you can do something that's family friendly, and especially animal friendly, it's good to do. So it was nice. They say never to act with babies or dogs, and I ended up acting with baby dogs. So
what is it like to act with a dog?
Oh, amazing. I mean, it just takes your mind off everything. I mean, as animals often do anyway. But it was just amazing because it really was more, you can't compete with a dog, so there's no stress.
I'm competing with the dog, and I'm losing my
no
makeup
stress.
and everything else.
That's right.
Hey,
you don't even worry about the
Blackie's
camera.
incredible, but
Thank
you
you.
sort of got your own 2 angel dogs during that
Yeah.
whole process, right?
Well,
Blackie and Whitey, any
Blackie and
comment there
Whitey.
on your...
Because I'm creative.
Yes.
Right, I'm the creative type, so Blackie and Whitey. I found them actually in Oak Cliff, which is a suburb of Dallas. I was on a video shoot, and these 2 dogs roamed up and were starving and thirsty and dirty, and when it came time to leave, I just couldn't leave them there because it was just too close to the highway, and I felt terrible, and so I thought, I have a big backyard and a truck, a SUV. So I had to find a way to get them in the truck, which was actually more challenging than I thought, because they had not been in a vehicle before. So literally, I had a big coat on, and I just had to turn my head and grab the feet and try to put them in and just wait. I was waiting any moment for the Jaws attack, but they're
No
sweethearts.
Jaws attack.
No. But
And
the white one,
You can tell how
they're so sweet.
really defense
Yeah,
oriented
he's a
this guy
monster.
is.
He's a brute.
He's a monster.
He's vicious, really. You
And
should be
I know
careful.
that, I actually don't know that, but you have this thought that at some point, Blackie and Whitey will be up for adoption.
Yes, they just had all of their shots and are both heartworm negative, which the vet was amazed by, considering that they were homeless.
Right.
And real pretty coats, real pretty animals, real healthy. And they were around a bunch of kids and
And
other
they're about the
dogs.
same size.
They are about the same size.
And we want them to go
We
to a
would
home
love for them. I think they
together.
love each other. Yes, I
Yeah.
would love for them to go
It's
together.
hard to separate dogs that have been together this way.
Well, and they were, you know, they were on the street together. So they've lived a hard life, I think. I don't know, you know, exactly, but I know when they came up, they certainly needed
So
a
they
little bit of help.
probably would know, like the other film you produced earlier in the year, Traveling. They probably know what it's like to be traveling.
Oh, yeah, they were traveling dogs. Traveling dogs. But no, I think they just really needed, I couldn't just leave them there. So with the help of a couple of people, we got them in the car, and I literally drove. The white one came in from the back seat and got in the front seat and wedged himself behind me in the driver's seat. So, and then I'm just waiting because he's got this giant, it's like a polar bear behind me. And so I'm driving and I'm just leaning close to the steering wheel. And he just wedged himself between the back seat and my car seat because he was scared. So, and laid there until I got home. And then right when I was getting close to home, he kind of shifted to the front, and then he kept knocking my gear shift. Come here, and he kept knocking my gear shift out of drive into neutral. So I'm trying to push this dog and push it back
So
in
how
drive.
does it differ working with a dog, like an angel dog, and that kind of sensitive script? Now, I know most of your scripts are very sensitive, but you did Wuss this year.
I did,
and you
yes.
did Traveling.
Yes.
And those did not have dogs in them.
They did
So,
not.
Difference? for
They
you?
did not. Yes, you know, Wuss, and I was an associate producer on Wuss, is much more sarcastic, dark humor story.
It's about a guy who is living in his mom's house.
Yes,
He returns
he's-
to his high school to teach and winds up being picked on and beat up by the
Yeah.
kids in his class.
So it's that kind of sad story of he was probably a wuss in high school, and he grew up and was still getting beat up by the same kind of kids. So it's pretty dark comedy, but it's done really well. It won the audience award at AFI Los Angeles. So we were very proud of that. And so it's going through the distribution market right now and trying to find a home. But it actually premiered at South by Southwest in Austin last year, and then also had a really nice showing, several showings at the Dallas International Film Festival.
So did your connection with dogs,
Yes.
I mean, here you are doing movies without dogs, and all of a sudden
Right.
you're doing, did you have dogs in your life growing up? Are
I
you
did.
attached to dogs?
Oh,
Are you-
very much so. No, and so that's what's so interesting is like if you could choose to do a movie with animals or without animals, I would say to choose to do a movie with animals. It's so much more fun and funny, and there's little things that happened every day.
You got any stories to tell about things that happened during the movie that are just like
You know,
crazy stuff?
It was. There was one instance, and I actually think we have a clip of it that was. I was supposed to. They wanted to joke with people because so many people are, you know, kiss their dogs and let their dogs lick their faces, and so the big joke was I was going to eat after the dog, but the writer and director kept telling me that I didn't really have to do it. You don't really have to do it, and I thought I'm not scared to eat after this dog. So it ended up being a pretty funny little scene where I'm eating peanut butter and the dog's just looking so intently, and then ends up I give him a spoon, so we end up sharing it.
Well,
It's
they
cute.
say a dog's mouth is one of the cleanest places to go in
That's right,
terms
that's
of,
right.
even though people think it isn't, there's
Oh.
not much, I understand there's not much danger at all
No.
from sharing with your dog.
I was not worried at all, not for a second. It
Well,
was
the
so much
peanut
fun.
butter was really good anyhow.
Yes, it was. It almost tasted better after the dog had some.
So in the film,
Mm-hmm.
there's sort of a guilt that comes with finding a dog and knowing that it was someone else's and the dog came to you.
Mm-hmm. Right.
In this case, because it had a mission. But in
Right.
general, people find dogs like you found dogs.
Yeah.
And you feel guilty that somebody else doesn't have the animal that they're in love with.
Well, and that's what I was worried about, and especially children. You know, I found these dogs, and I thought, oh gosh, I wonder if there's some sweet little baby out there, you know, missing these dogs, even though they looked like they had been on the road for quite some time. But yeah, so posted pictures up through all of the, you know, social networking, and which is great and a wonderful resource, you know, particularly for lost animals. Otherwise, you're just putting, you know, pieces of paper up on telephone
Right.
poles. Remember that?
Oh,
And
yeah.
when that was really the only means. Have you seen me?
Grocery store,
Yeah.
fast food place.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you wind up getting a dog that nobody's claimed and is with you, like Blackie and Whitey are dogs
Yeah.
that didn't belong to anyone.
Right.
So they're with you. And then you sort of develop an attachment.
Oh, yeah.
And you're going to adopt them, but if somebody doesn't come along pretty quickly, they're yours for life. Like my boy Tex, you've seen pictures of him.
Yeah.
He's an 80-pound boxer now. He
Beautiful.
started when I got him at a year old. He was like a 55-pound boxer. That was as big as he was ever going to get. And he came to me at a particularly difficult period in my life. I had lost a wife to breast cancer, and my dad passed, and 2 of my dogs passed, and I was just having trouble adjusting. And all of a sudden, I got a phone call, and it was like, I've got your dog, just, we need to operate on him. Will you support his operation and come get him? And it's 6 years later, and I had this thought maybe I'd adopt him out. Now he lives with 2 other boxers.
Yeah. But so you have your own angel dog.
I do. Texas.
Yeah.
He lives in Utah. His name is Texas. And
Aw.
when the mayor of Salt Lake ran for governor, he ran an ad on the front page of the newspaper that said, "My name is Texas, but I live in Utah. And if you change the mayor's name to governor, I'll change my name from Texas to Utah."
That's funny. Come here, Blackie.
Blackie, come
I
here,
would love
boy.
for someone just to look at him. Come here. To see if A, they recognize him, or B, if they have any interest, which, yeah, they better come quickly. But
Yeah.
hopefully someone will adopt the pair because they are so sweet together. And
How old is Blackie?
this one, he's guesstimated to be under 11 months old.
And he weighs maybe 50 pounds?
You know, I don't know. He feels
Well,
more
let's
than that.
see.
He feels like more than that.
He's solid.
He's solid.
But he's so sweet.
He is so sweet.
And, I just met him this morning, and look at this.
I know. So,
So-
they are not fixed. The 2 dogs, I was told that they were intact, which I'm guessing means that would probably be
Well, the
the
one thing we
next
don't need
thing.
is more dog puppies running around. So I think we should
Yes.
have them spay
Yes.
have them neutered, sorry.
Yes.
They're males. Have them neutered before you wind up adopting
Absolutely.
them out.
Absolutely.
We'll support that.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah. They need a bath and
Well, he
their
doesn't,
little nails done, and they're going to need
he
to be
doesn't
spayed.
smell bad.
Oh, no. He's a sweetie pie.
So any other really funny bits from the film?
I got to tell you, there were so many. So we had a cat that was on set, and the dogs and cats got along famously. Like there was no issue at all. And we got to use a real vet's office in San Antonio that was lovely. And you'll see if you see the film, just beautiful office. But everyone was wonderful. Everyone got along.
It was a great vet's office.
It really was.
I've never seen a vet's office
That was
without people in it. You usually have to wait in line to get into the office and then sit there for 30 minutes. And
Well, that's
the next-
movie magic. Right. We had to shoot at night. But I actually got to learn how to tag kitties and puppies. So they let me do that, actually, which is you grab the nape of the neck
Right.
and you just shoot it in there, and it doesn't hurt. I thought about doing me,
So
but I
chip.
didn't.
Put the chip in. Yeah. All my
So that
dogs
then
do
you can
chip.
scan. But I had to. I shadowed a vet basically for a day, so I could learn how to hold them and.
Did you give them any shots?
No, I just did the tagging.
Well,
So-
that's the hardest one
And
because
I
that's
held.
a big needle.
I held for the shots.
I don't like to even see those needles.
I know, and then I held these guys when they got their shots.
And do they have chips?
They were not. They ran the wand over them, and they didn't have anything. So,
So we'll have to get them chipped and
all that good stuff.
pedicure.
Pedicure. Yeah, they
Manicure,
need a mani
pedicure.
and a pedi and a bath and a shampoo, and then a little.
Yes, and it's
It's
such,
really healthy.
but
I mean,
talking
it's necessary.
Yeah, but talking about that, we put down millions of dogs in this country a year.
Oh.
It's really a sad thing.
Yeah.
And part of the reason is because dogs aren't spay and neuter, and there's a cultural thing, especially here in Texas.
Yeah.
There's a cultural thing with it's easy to take a female dog in to be spay,
Yeah.
but somehow it's cruel to take in a male dog to be neutered.
I know. I have guilt already, but I'm still going to do it.
Yeah, I just had
It's the right thing.
I saved that little Shih Tzu Bandit, and I had to take him in at 4.5, 5 months, and he looked at me as I left him at the vet, and it was such a guilty feeling to feel that I was leaving him behind. But he's happier, and he's calmed down
sure.
a bit, and there aren't going to be a bunch. He came with a problem, and there aren't
Yeah.
going to be a bunch of other puppies that have problems.
Yeah, well, it's such a responsible thing to do. I can't stress. That's my number one thing that I would tell people is to spay and neuter your pets. It's just so important. Especially, I mean, these guys were on the street.
Right.
So they
and
coulda-
so the next thing you know, you've
Yeah.
got another 10
Bunch of black and white
and
puppies
they,
running
and they
around.
wind up being put down, and that's the
Or
sad
hit by
part.
cars or uncared for. So
Yeah. Well, The biggest thing for me when I met you was the excitement of knowing that there was somebody out there who is as well known as you've become and is so in love with these animals the way I am, and had just done the film. Do you have any plans to do any more films with animals?
Actually, there is another dog movie in the works.
Are we letting a secret out?
So we actually are, but it'll be the same team, and so it was nice. So with the success of Angel Dog, you know, luckily with a movie success, usually your producers and investors will want to do it again, and it's just nice because it was such a nice movie and the dogs were great, and so we're excited to use them again and work with them again, hopefully here, I think this summer.
And the only reason that you would give up your dogs, Blackie and Whitey, is because you travel so much. You're constantly on the road.
Bad.
I know you're going to Austin
Yeah.
for another shoot tonight for a film that you're producing.
Producing, yeah.
Right.
So
any little secrets on that?
It's a short film, and it's also by Clay Lyford, so it'll be sarcastic and dark and funny, and not. It's not as nice as the dog baby, but it'll still be real cute.
Well, good. The best thing that you would give as advice to people who find a dog the way you did would be?
To go ahead and immediately to get them vetted, which I didn't even know what that meant. I called my friend Sherry, and
I know you had some problem just knowing what to do.
She said, "Yeah, what do you know?" Because you just think my first priority was getting them in a fence and getting them food and water, and that was a big deal.
And they were starving.
They were starving, and they laid down immediately and went to sleep after their bellies were full. It was really sad, and had nightmares. Like within an hour and a half, I was seeing their little feet were moving.
Well, that's from being on the street.
I know. I felt terrible. So there was already that sense of relief, but I think getting them vetted, so getting them checked out right away, and making sure that they don't have any heartworm problems, and then also just you have to have shots for them to be around other dogs. You can't even take them to get groomed unless they have their tags.
Correct.
So all of that's
Yeah,
important.
and the other thing is, parvo and distemper are viruses that are so prevalent in dogs that it's easy to spread it. So once they've had the shots, they can be around other dogs.
Right, and also there is usually a vet that will show up in a parking lot of either a pet store or a grocery store. There's all kinds of listings, but I went and got the shots. I think I got the full combo for $30 a dog.
That's amazing.
Literally.
That's
so
great.
it was, and that was just over here, off Mockingbird. So really easy to do, and Saturday, Sunday thing, and they usually have hours 12 to 4. So something like that. The rabies shot was $9. I mean, so it really was affordable and easy to do, and I was really happy to do it. So
well, it's
they
really,
can always look for something
on
like
behalf
that.
of American Dog Rescue and all of the folks that love dogs, thank you for taking them in.
You're welcome.
Well,
I love them.
When we come back, we're going to talk about the other fun side of the movie business. We're going to talk about the Westminster Dog Awards, and we're going to talk about the first ever Golden Collar Awards.
Finally.
And next year, maybe, given that you're in the industry, you can take Blackie or Whitey, if they're still with you, out.
Right.
But again, we're with Farrah White, actress, producer,
yes,
dog lover, Blackie, who's wandered off and probably found food somewhere in the back of the studio, and we so appreciate you being on the show, sharing a little about Angel Dog, which I encourage everyone to go out and, for $1, you can rent this movie for a night and just have a great time. It's a great kid movie, it's a great couples movie, and it's a good family movie. I'm Arthur Benjamin. This is Farrah White, and we'll be back in a little bit on the next segment to discuss the Westminster Dog Show, the Golden Collar Awards, and some fun stories, really fun stories about things that happen in the background around both of those shows and the winners of the shows. And I won't do a leak here on who the winners are. I think people by now know.
They might know.
But we'll be back. We'll be back shortly. Blackie, come say bye.
Yes.
Come on, boy. Hey, thanks for
come
joining
back.
us. I'm Arthur E. Benjamin on behalf of American Dog Rescue. See you in a few minutes. I'm Arthur E. Benjamin, and we're here with Farrah White, actress, producer, and dog lover. And we're back to talk about the awards. We're going to talk about the Westminster Dog Show, where Malachi,
the Pekingese,
stole the show.
He did. He won Best in Show.
And I think that's first time a Pekingese won, or one of the few times a Pekingese
Yes,
won?
although Malachi is a very successful Pekingese. You know, you'd heard he had done a lot of, he had won a lot of things before that. So it was kind of funny that watching them go around, because all of the other dogs have such a large gait and different sized dogs, and then that Pekingese, he can just barely move. You know, he just sashayed, really. But
and I heard the story that he went to Sardi's, as is the tradition, after the show for the post-day dinner, and health department in New York City said, you can't have a dog in a restaurant. So there was this big hullabaloo in New York about whether it could happen, and I understand that he's gotten a waiver now.
I heard that. He's got a pass.
Well, it's actually the restaurant, Sardi's, that has the pass, and it's now a tradition in New York that the winner of the Westminster Dog Show will go to Sardi's every year. And then there was a picture the next day of Martha Stewart and her Chow Chow.
Yeah,
the big chow, and she was sitting in the Plaza Hotel in that beautiful garden restaurant in the lobby, having dinner before the show. So
nice.
I guess it's not as unacceptable as it should be. And of course, it's wonderful to have our service dogs.
Oh, yeah.
With a military and those cerebral palsy youth and people in wheelchairs and blind, deaf, being able to come into environments and help people.
Sure, absolutely. Well, and then helping them, you know, in the restaurant as well. So I think just having them, you know, you can't not have your service dog, or how would they get there? How would they? So it's just nice that
it's amazing what these dogs can do. I spent last week in 2 female correctional facilities in West Virginia training Golden Retriever service dogs for our service members and for people who are handicapped, and 130 commands in a year.
That's such a great idea.
Turning on lights, turning off lights, opening doors, picking up keys, just the most amazing, standing, bracing so that somebody can lift their whole weight on the dog to get out of a wheelchair. Truly amazing.
The other day I was at a light, actually, and saw a gentleman that had walked up to the corner and was waiting, and it was, you know, had the service dog and had the harness, and reached down. I think the dog turned his head slightly sideways, and somehow, I guess that was their signal, and the guy took him off his leash. The dog went, you know, just a few feet over into the grass and did his business, and then came right back. And, you know, the guy just hooked him right back, and it was just such a beautiful relationship.
And the dog took out a bag, picked up after himself.
And the dog, well, luckily it wasn't that kind of that kind of break, but
really, the other awards are the ones I want to spend a little time on, because not a lot of people know about the Golden Collar
well, they're
Awards.
new.
First year. And they got a lot of press. And they were all over Facebook and the internet. And the Golden Collar Awards were given out to the best dog actors and actresses.
Which is a first, right? Because they've never really been recognized before or gotten any type of award. So, yeah. Now
you want to talk about the winner? The winner was Hugo.
Yes.
And Hugo is the dog in The Artist, the one that runs after the policeman and gets the policeman when there's the fire.
Right.
Oops.
Oops. Yeah, spoiler alert.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot in that film, so.
Yeah.
But that dog is amazing. And I understand there were 4 Jack Russells in the film, not just.
Right, which is very common. And actually, we had 2 border collies in Angel Dog.
That looked alike.
Yeah. So usually you'll have that just to kind of give them a break. And it's nice, you know, when you have that type of breed that, you know, you can do that anyway. But
well, Shorty's dog, you know Shorty. Shorty's dog, Pitbull, co-shared one of the awards, and he said that they asked him what he thought. He said, well, it's the first time a pit bull's been nominated for anything. which is kind of sad.
Very sad. It breaks my heart, because those are the sweetest dogs.
Yeah, well,
you know?
As Pit Boss, he does a great job. As you know.
Yeah.
And that's a great reality series. So it was Best Dog on a Reality Series.
Nice.
And
good.
There were other winners, and lots of actors and actresses that showed up. And they were all thrilled to have their dogs. One had their dog in a baby carriage.
Yeah.
Another had their dog in I understand, the Swarovski sequin gown.
Can you imagine?
Yes, and I can't remember who it was, but one actress said that yes, she'd have to go home, and later that night she'd be wearing the Golden Collar Award.
I bet.
And her dog would take her to bed.
How funny. Well, that was the best red carpet ever. You know,
It was.
Those animals going, it really was.
One after the other, and they were nose to tail, and not a single fight, and only one little accident backstage.
Right.
That goes nameless, but one little accident backstage. I would have given anything to be at those awards.
Oh, that would
So
have
if you
been
can get
amazing.
us a pass next year, I
You know
would
what? I'll start working
love
on
to
that.
go.
We might be able to pull something like that.
Yeah, that would be.
Or maybe we can put an animal in a movie and get a nomination.
That's a great idea. Blackie, are you up for a movie? Blackie's not up for anything right now.
He's exhausted.
Yeah, well, we've tuckered him out. I think this is the first time he's been an actor.
Well, it is. It's the first time he's been on TV.
Well,
that I
maybe
know
we
of.
could use this show as a way of getting into the awards.
Maybe someone will notice him.
Well, we have a lot coming up in the next month or two. HSUS is having a trip to the SEALs, and I understand you'd like to go on that, so we'll see what we can do.
I'm trying to pull out all the stops to get to go on that trip.
Well, pups are pups no matter where they are, even if it is on the Arctic Circle.
Heartbreaking. Yeah.
Well, yeah, and the seal hunt's coming to an end. I'm confident. I am confident that the Canadian government and the Canadian people have woken up to the fact that that brutality is just not part of our humanity anymore.
Yeah, I sure hope so. Because that's just, I mean, anytime, I mean, really, I can't even watch anything like that. I always joke, I say I always joke. I often joke if I'm on the phone with my friends or something at nighttime, I'll have to change the channel if it's Discovery Channel or something, if it's not nighttime. So if it's not a nighttime story, which means I'm not going to be able to go to sleep after I watch it.
Well, we're at the end of, speaking of nighttime, we're at the end of our half hour, and I want to thank you, Farah, for being on the show.
Of course, thank you.
Thank you for speaking for the animals that can't speak for themselves, and I'm Arthur E. Benjamin. Join us next week for more interesting stories about dogs and other animals. Thanks for being with us today.